All right. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Welcome back to Matt's Off the Cuff Gaming. Um, it's it's 1:55 in the morning, as you can see on my clock here. So I am going to talk a little quieter, but I do want to get this video made. And the kids don't have school tomorrow. Tomorrow is well, actually, it's already tomorrow. It's 12:23. Um, Christmas Eve is technically tomorrow, but I haven't gone to bed yet on 12:22. So whatever. It's already September 23rd, December 23rd. I wanted to make a video, and I wanted to bring up this prediction sheet that I created back after week 6. So, a lot of people create predictions in the NFL, and there was a guy for NFL Network. I can't remember his name, but he went through all 17 games for every team and gave a prediction for each game, and it was he didn't do very well, but it's hard to do it from the very first week because you don't know how teams go. I mean, he had like he had the Chargers and Raiders and Broncos. He had the Chargers I think at 13-4, and the Broncos at 12-5, and the Raiders at 11-6. And he had the Chiefs at 10-7 and finishing in last place in the West. Um, and so what I did was after week 6, I said I'm going to make a prediction sheet, and so you can see it here um, on what I've done. So I've been kind of keeping track of this. I should have made a video when I first created it, but I didn't. So you're gonna have to just take my word for this. I suppose if you don't believe me, that's fine. You don't believe me, but um, so I put in the first column over here. This is where we start, and I put the record after week 6. So it was basically after the Chiefs lost to the Bills. That was kind of my impetus for creating this worksheet. And then I have down here what my prediction record currently is based on from week 7 on. And I think I wanted to start there because, well, first of all, I wanted to think to myself, okay, what do I think the Chiefs are really going to do? Because the Chiefs are my team. But then I was like, what is the rest of the AFC going to do? I don't really care about the NFC. They are who they are. But I wanted to see how the AFC playoff picture was going to come up. Because I was pretty, I was looking ahead, and I was like, the Chiefs have an easier schedule, once they got through the Bills. Um, at least I thought so. And then like a team like the Titans, for example, after I predicted them to beat the Texans, in week 8, I said that they wouldn't win again. And my predicted record was that Jacksonville would win the South at 7-10. So I still think Jacksonville's going to win the South. They're probably going to win it at 9-8 or maybe 8-9. But they beat the Jets tonight. So yeah, tonight was the Jets and Jaguars game where the Jaguars won 19-3. Okay, so I'm going to kind of walk through this. So at the time of the prediction, the Chiefs were 4-2, and as you can see here, ironically enough, the team that I cheer for, I have been perfect on my predictions so far for the Chiefs here on out. It was after the Rams game. Um, I was like, I remember doing the Red Bull Gold podcast. I'm always in the chat with Seren Petro and Jeff Chadia, and Eric Eager, and I put in there in the chat, it's like, I think the Bengals are gonna get the Chiefs. They beat them obviously twice last year. Well, it was back in January. I was like, I think they're gonna get the best of us again. I think it's gonna be a close game, and I predicted the Chiefs would lose by a touchdown. They lost by a field goal. Um, so of the 8 games so far that I've predicted for the Chiefs, they are 8-0. The Broncos, if I had to pick before the season, I think I would have probably had the Broncos going 8-9 or 9-8. But as you can see here, obviously they were 2-4 at the time of the prediction, and they were looking really bad. I ended up my predicted record for the Broncos was to finish 4-13. I thought that, after week 6, I thought they would only win 2 more games. I thought they would beat the Titans, and I thought they would beat the Cardinals. Well, they did beat the Cardinals. They lost to the Titans, but they beat the Jags. So I've missed 2 of their games. So I've gone 6-2 with the Broncos. The Raiders are a team that I have done poorly on in predicting them. Um, I thought the Raiders would go on a big winning streak here to turn it around, and then another losing streak, and then a couple wins here, ultimately to finish 8-9. But as you can see, obviously they did not win these games. They lost all of them. But then they've turned it around and they've won 4 of their last 5 games. They beat the Broncos, they beat the Seahawks, they beat the Chargers, they beat the Pats. They did lose to the Rams. I got that one right, but but through this 6 weeks here, I was 1-5 in predicting the Raiders games. They're a very difficult team for me to predict. They're all over the place. Um, the Chargers, I've only missed one. The Dolphins game here. So subsequently, the Chargers game here with the Dolphins is the only one I missed on the Dolphins. So if I would have predicted this one right, I'd be 8-0 on both the Dolphins and the Chargers as well. The Jets are a team. I thought they were better after 6 weeks than they really were. Um, Probably should have paid attention to their quarterback issues, which I don't know too much about. And I watched part of the game tonight. Zach Wilson was awful. He ended up getting benched for a wide receiver to come in and play quarterback. So go figure. I think Zach Wilson is done in New York. Um, he's just not he's just not a good quarterback. Um, as you can see here, I've gone 4-5 on the Jets. I had the Jets going 10-7 in my prediction, but right now they're 7-8. So they're not going to get to 10 wins. They could get to 9. They got the Seahawks and the Dolphins left. I think they lose both those games. Um, and I think they finish 7-10 now. The Bills, after they beat the Chiefs, I thought the Bills would lose only one more game. And I picked that game correctly. I picked them to lose to the Vikings. Um, but I had them beating the Jets, which they lost the Jets here. So as you can see here, I got this 5 game winning streak here. I think they're going to win out. I don't think that they're going to lose to the Bengals, even though I want them to. I think they will beat the Bengals. I think they win their final 3 games, and I think they secure home field advantage throughout the AFC. The Miami Dolphins when they sat at 3-3, they were coming off a 3 game losing streak, going into week 7. But then I had them winning their next 5 games, which they did. Of course, this was a pretty easy stretch here. Steelers, Lions, Bears, Browns, Texans, and then I had them losing to the 49ers and the Bills. What I didn't see was that I thought they would beat the Chargers. So Bills and Dolphins both have gone 7-1 with in these 8 games. The New England Patriots. This is another team that I didn't expect too much out of. They've done a little better than I have expected. They are 7-7 right now. I predicted them to go 5-12 on the season, so they've already surpassed what I thought they were going to do. But they have quarterback issues as well with Mac Jones, and they still have a chance. They still have a chance to get in the playoffs in the AFC, but it's going to be difficult, especially with the Jaguars surging. The Colts actually had a really weird. They were 3-2-1 here, but I was like, this Colts team was not good, even though they did beat the Chiefs. That was such a weird game where everything went wrong for Kansas City that could have gone wrong, and the Colts played a really poor game, and they still found a way to win. That tells you how bad the Chiefs played in that game, and the Chiefs beat themselves in that game. We've talked about that before, but I've gotten 2 of their games wrong here. But overall, they have the same record here after week 15 as I thought they would. Um, So I because I had them winning this game, but they lost it, and I had them losing this game, but they won it. So they actually have the same record, even though I'm 6-2. They're right where I thought they would be. Jaguars, kind of like the Raiders, the Jaguars I have done the absolute worst on in predicting. I did not see the Jaguars doing anything this year. I was not a big fan of Trevor Lawrence. I still he's impressed me more lately, and they're on a 3-game winning streak now. If they could have beaten the Lions here, they would be on a 5-game winning streak, and that would go a long ways. Instead of being 7-8, they'd be 8-7. That was weird. What was that? Um, and they'd be in the driver's seat in the AFC South. But they didn't win this game against the Lions. They've this game here where they lost to the Broncos. I got this one. I thought they'd beat the Broncos. Um, but they've got 2 easy games left. When I say easy games, they got the Texans and Titans. Titans are in a free fall. Texans are obviously the Texans. Um, so again, I've done a really poor job of predicting what the Jaguars would do. They've really surprised me in terms of how they've come around. And the funny thing is that I actually had them still winning the South at 7-10. Texans again. I've only missed one game. I had them beating the Commanders, which they didn't. So no loss there. I do have them beating the Titans here coming up on Christmas Eve or Christmas Day, whatever day that game is this weekend. As I mentioned earlier, the Titans. I missed these two. They did beat the Broncos and Packers, but I predicted them to lose out after week 8. I had them losing all these games in a row, all 10. I had them losing 10 in a row to finish the season. The Ravens. I've done really well in the Ravens picks too. I missed this game against the Jags. Other than that, I've predicted all of these. I thought they would win 7 in a row, but they didn't. They had a loss sprinkled in there. But I did pick them to lose to the Browns. Um, there was no math, or there was no hint there. Obviously, I picked this back in after week 6. It was one of those things where when I initially was going through and picking these games, I was almost always going with the better team, and I was like, that's not always going to work. And so I was like, I'm going to go ahead and pick. I'm going to pick the Browns to win a couple games here and there where I think they probably wouldn't. For example, like I had them beating the Bengals here in week 11, and they did. I had them beating the Ravens in week 15, which they did. And I wish I would have picked them here to beat the Bucks, um, but they didn't. But the Ravens and Browns I've gone 7-1 with, 7-1 on the Bengals too. After 3-3, I thought the Bengals were better than that. I still was not completely sold on them because you can see here I had them losing to the Bucks, Pats, and Bills back to back to back. If I had to do over again, I would probably have them beating the Patriots because I had them. My record was I had them going 10-7 and finishing a game back of the Ravens. I think the Bengals. Here we'll talk about the record here in a second, and then the Steelers. I had them going 6-2, or I've been 6-2 on them. I missed these 2 games. The Steelers have played better than I thought they would this year. I thought they were going to be a 4-13 team. They're already 6-8 right now, so they've already gone over my prediction. So let's scroll down here. This right here is the predicted. Okay, here it's over here. You can see it there. There we go. All right, predicted record. Yeah, as you can see here. So this is what I thought after week 6. This is how I thought it would shake down. I thought Kansas City, and then LA, so the Chargers, Raiders, and the Broncos, which look like it's going to finish about that way. If I had it to do over again, now that you see the real records here, I think the Chargers. I think the Chargers. I think they beat the Rams here instead. I had them losing here, but I think they do win. I think the Chargers actually win out here, and I think they finish 11-6. Um, so I'll probably miss that game there, but we'll see. I have the Chiefs winning out. I have the Broncos losing out. So if that holds, then they will be 4-13, just like my prediction. And then the Raiders, I have the Raiders winning 1 and losing 2. So if they win 1 and lose 2, they'll finish 7-10, which is 1 game worse than I predicted them. So we're pretty close here. I'm gonna probably miss on the Chargers by 2 games, and I'm probably gonna miss on the Raiders by 1 game. But I think I'm gonna get the Chiefs and the Broncos exact. Buffalo, I have them finishing at 14-3 now. I didn't see that loss to the Jets coming, so I'll be 1 minus there. Miami's 8-6 right now. I do have them winning 2 of their final 3 games, which would get them to, which if they did that, they would finish 10-7. So in order to hit them 11-6, they got to win their final 3. And then the Jets are 7-8. So I've missed this one pretty badly. Now looking at them, they've got the Seahawks and Dolphins. I do think they lose both those games, and I think they finish 7-10 now. So I'm going to miss them by 3 games. And the Patriots are better than 5-12. As you can see, kind of the standings here. The Bills are running away with this division. Here in the South, I think the Jags win out. I think they beat the Texans and the Titans, and if they do that, they win the South. They'll finish at 9-8, and the best record that Tennessee could be would be 9-8. But if Tennessee finishes 9-8, they will have losses to the Jags and the Jags twice, and they'll lose the division. And then they will not make the playoffs at 9-8. So let's actually go through here, and I'm going to do revised on 12/23. So let's go ahead. I'm going to say the Chiefs will finish 14-3. I'm going to say the Chargers will finish. Whoops. My doggy's having a bad dream in the other room. I think they're going to finish 11-6. Raiders. I think they go 7-10. And I think the Broncos are 4-13. Buffalo is going to be 14-3. Miami. I think they're going to beat the Packers. They're going to win out. So they're going to finish 11-6. Jets are going to finish 7-10. And then the Patriots, they're going to lose to the Bengals. They're going to lose out. So they're going to be 7-10 as well. Jags, I have them going 9-8. Come on. Change this into text. All right, Jags 9-8. Indianapolis. They're going to lose that game. All right, so I'll finish them 1-2. 5-11-1. Tennessee. Let's just go ahead and give the 3 losses to the Tennessee Titans. They're going to finish 7-10. And then Houston's going to get that 1 win over the Titans and lose to these 2. So they're going to finish 2-14-1. So, I mean, because of the way it's broken up here in my predicted records, but I think that's how it's going to work there. And then out here, Baltimore Falcons, I think that'll be a win actually now. I think the Falcons are in free fall. I think they still lose to the Bengals. And I think they win here. So I have them going 2-1 the rest of the way. In Baltimore, that'll give them to 11-6. All right, so that'll be right where I predicted them. The Bengals, I think they beat the Pats. They lose here and they win here. So they're going to go 2-1. So they're going to finish 12-5. So they'll actually finish in first place. That's what my prediction is. The Browns, I have them beating the Saints and Steelers. The Commanders, I think they will. You know, I really think actually they're going to win all 3 of those games. I think they're going to finish on a 4-game win streak, and they're going to feel real good about some with Watson. I'm going to have them go 9-8. I'm going to have them actually beating the Commanders now, so I'll probably end up taking a loss there if that happens. And then the Steelers. Did I have the Raiders? So, loss. Yeah, I have them all 3 of those losses, so 6-11. Okay. Okay, so the original playoffs scenario was Buffalo, Kansas City, Baltimore, Jacksonville, Miami, Cincinnati, New York. This was the predicted. Here, let me delete this stuff here. So let's change this one to after week 14, is that right? Week 15. Okay, so after week 15, no change of the top 2. And then, so Buffalo, Kansas City. So it'll be Cincinnati here. Jacksonville here. And then we have Miami, Los Angeles, and Baltimore. Oh, 3 teams at 11-6. Okay. Tie-breaking scenarios. Okay, 3 clubs. Apply division tiebreakers to limit all but the highest ranked club in each division. Okay. Okay, we have a North team, an East, and a West. Okay, so that one doesn't apply. Head-to-head sweep only. Okay, so let's check this out. The Chargers. All right. So we're looking for the Chargers. We're looking for Chargers, Dolphins, and Ravens. Alright, so the Chargers actually beat the Dolphins. They didn't play the Ravens. Ravens lost to the Dolphins. They didn't play the Chargers. Okay, so no one has split. Okay, because the Dolphins went. They did play both teams, but they split them. Okay, so number 2 doesn't. Alright, so we have to go to number 3. Best won-loss tied percentage in games played within the conference. Okay. So the Chargers have 2. Oh, hold on. How many games did they play against the NFC? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, let's check the Dolphins. 1, 2, 3, 4. And the Ravens, I don't think they would play 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Crap. Is that right? Giants is 1. Bucks is 2. Saints is 3. Panthers are 4. Falcons are 5. Let's check the Dolphins now. Make sure I didn't forget one. Vikings, Lions, Bears, 49ers, Packers. Oh, there are 5. Now let's check the Chargers. Raiders, Chiefs, Jags, Texans, Browns, Broncos, Seahawks, Falcons, 49ers, Cards, Rams. Oh, there are 5. Okay, I missed it. Okay, so each team plays 5. So that means they play 12 games and they're within the conference. Okay. Alright, so the Chargers have 1 loss, 2 losses in the AFC, 3 losses, 4. They won that one. So 4. They're going to be 8-4. Let me just mark that down here so I don't forget it. Dolphins, 1, 2, 3. They only have 3 losses in the conference. Vikings, 49ers. And we're going to have them losing to the Packers. Okay, so they're going to be 9-3. And then the Ravens, 1, 2, 3. Four. Okay, so that puts the Dolphins on that line there. Okay, so then the Chargers and Ravens are both 8-4, so we need to go down to the next game. Best one-loss tied percentage in common games, minimum of 4. Oh, jeez. Wait, did the Chargers play the Ravens? They did not. That would have been really easy. Alright, in common games, Alright, have they played the Raiders? No. Chiefs? No. Jags? Yes. Alright, so they both lost to the Jags. They're both 0-1. Texans. Didn't play the Texans. Browns. Alright, so in Browns they're one. So now they're 1-2 in common games. They're 1-1. Broncos. They didn't play the Broncos. Seahawks. Didn't play the Seahawks. Falcons. No. Oh, they did play the Falcons. They beat the Falcons of the. Oh wait, that's the Browns. Dang it. Shoot. Let's try this again. Here, let's do this for a second. Let's hide all these. Let's hide everything on here except for the two teams we need. Okay, so common opponents. Common opponents are the Jags, the Browns, the Broncos. See, I missed that one. That's where I was getting them mixed up with the Browns schedule. No Seahawks. When they did both play the Falcons. The 49ers, no. The Chiefs, no. The Cardinals, no. Raiders, excuse me. No. Dolphins. I spelled that wrong. Titans, nope. Colts, no. Rams, no. Wow, their common games are. Okay, so the Chargers. Alright, so the Chargers went. Let's format that as text. 0-1 against the Chargers. The Browns, they went 1-0. Broncos 1-0. 2-0. Falcons 1-0. Dolphins 1-0. The Ravens lost to the Jags. They're 1-0 against the Browns. 1-1. 1-1. Against the Broncos, they're 1-0. Against the Falcons, we had them winning that game, so they're 1-0 against the Falcons. And the Dolphins, they lost to the Dolphins. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4-1. 4-1. 4 divided by 5. Dang it. 2, 3, 3, and 3. Okay. Chargers in this scenario would get... Alright, yeah, let's... Okay. Alright, so this video is at 36 minutes, and it's mostly me just kind of jacking around here. So after week 6, this was my predicted playoffs picture. Buffalo, Kansas City, which hasn't changed. I had Baltimore as the 3, which after week 15, I think they're going to be the 7. I had Jacksonville here at 4, and I think they're still going to be 4. I had Miami at 5. That still holds there. I had Cincinnati at 6. They're going to be here. The only team I had in was that I had the Jets making it, and I did not have the Chargers making it at 9 and 8. But I think the Chargers do make it now at 11 and 6. So that's not too bad. I would have gotten Buffalo, Kansas City, Jacksonville, Miami. I would have gotten 4 of the 7 correct on the seedings. And then Cincinnati Cincinnati was here because they had them winning the tiebreaker over the Jets. But so in this playoff scenario, Kansas City and the Ravens, I think the Chiefs beat the Ravens, especially with Jackson being injured. Cincinnati and the Chargers, boy, that would be a really good game. I think the Chargers actually beat the Bengals in this situation, and in this one, I think Jacksonville beats Miami. So that would be so. Then the Chargers would play Buffalo, and then the Jags will play Kansas City. I think Buffalo beats the Chargers. I think the Chiefs beat the Jaguars, and then Buffalo and Kansas City play for the AFC Championship game, which, I'll be rooting for the Chiefs, but if that's the situation, I think Buffalo at home, I think they do get it done, and I think the Bills go to the Super Bowl over the Chiefs. So that's the way I look at it right now. Of course, I may change this. If the Bills do get tripped up to the Bengals and lose and finish at 13 and 4, and the Chiefs have the 1 seed, basically, whoever has the 1 seed, I'm going to predict to go to the Super Bowl from the AFC. I just think playing that extra game or having that extra week off, not having to play that extra game is going to be critical. And I think 1, 2, and 3 is going to be the Bills, Chiefs, and Bengals in some order. Well, of course, because the South is not going to get up there, and no one else. The only other team that could possibly get up there is Miami if they win out and the Bills lose out, but I don't see that happening either. So it's pretty much locked in here. Now the Ravens, I suppose, still could jump up there in number 3 if the Bengals fall off completely. But the Bengals, let's see here. There we go. They was hiding. The Bengals with the I could see a scenario where they lose to the Patriots. I could see a scenario where they lose out as well. Right now they're sitting at 10 and 4. I could see them still finishing at 10 and 7, and they would still make the playoffs in that scenario because I believe they've already clinched a. Here, let's. Let's pull up the playoff picture real quick. Yeah, the Bengals have already clinched a playoff spot, so they could finish at 10-7 and they will still make the playoffs. Um, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think they'll be 11-6. Um, there's a big difference between 11-6 and 10-7, in my opinion. So anyway, that's kind of what I think how it's going to wrap up here in the AFC. Um, a lot of it's gonna that Bengals and Bills game is going to be absolutely huge to determine seeding, and I still think that whoever gets that one seed is going to make it to the Super Bowl. So I hope it's the Chiefs. If it's the Bills, I'm going to predict the Bills will go to the Super Bowl. The Bengals do have a shot to winning the number one seed, but in order to do that, they have to win out, which would be finishing at 13-4, and they have to hope that the Chiefs lose a game. Which the Chiefs have the Seahawks, the Broncos, and the Raiders. Uh, I could see them possibly getting tripped up in the final game against the Raiders, but the Chiefs are going to have something to play for, and the Raiders are likely going to be mathematically eliminated by that point. So I think it might be a situation where the Raiders just mail it in. But it's a rivalry game, and you never know what's going to happen in rivalry games. The Chiefs beat the Raiders by 1 point earlier in this season. So it was a really close game, and the Chiefs were actually, I think they were down 17 points in that game, or was that last year to the Raiders? I can't remember. I get these games, everything runs together for the last couple of years, but that's kind of how I think it's going to work out in the AFC playoff picture. Let me know if you like this video. Um, we'll come back at the end of this week. I'm going to start making weekly videos, maybe more than that, as it relates to the playoff picture. I'm going to do another video tomorrow, looking at the NFC. Even though I've not done this, I didn't do this prediction at the week 6 mark for the NFC. I'm going to do something. We're going to look at it. We're going to kind of see how things are, um, how they're going to, how it's laid out. Especially as the injury to Jalen Hurts, what's that going to mean for the Eagles? Are they going to rest him for the remainder of the season? I think that would be a mistake if they did that. And then we're going to talk about MVP races, which I that's going to be an interesting vote for sure. Now that especially as the voting has changed in the NFL. So anyway, thanks so much for watching this video, guys. If you like this, please give it a thumbs up. Consider subscribing to the channel for more content, and I will talk to you later. Bye bye.